all my viewers and panelists on the behalf of SCAI. Today's subject of discussion is post-pandemic marketing strategy. We have a panel of eminent personalities from the industry who shall be discussing this subject. So let me introduce you to our esteemed panelist, Saraswati Singh. She's Executive Vice President, Halwasia Group, One Awadh Center Mall. Mr. Prasad Rane is a Chief Marketing Officer, Pioneer Property Zone Services. Nandini Taneja, she is Vice President, Leasing and Marketing, Reach Pro Group. And Rahul Malhotra, he's Head of Marketing, Orient Mall. Rima Menon, she is joining us shortly. She is Vice President, Retail and Commercial, Parshavnath Developers Limited. Prasad shall be moderating the session. So over to Prasad. Welcome.
Thank you, Sanjeev.
Yeah.
Thank you for introducing all of us. Just before I begin, very quickly, thanks to SCAI for organizing and hosting this. Truly believe the fact that these sessions really help the marketeers understand from our perspective as to what we are doing in our malls, respective centers. The session is a very interesting session because we're discussing today brand and marketing post-pandemic, right? What has changed? The consumers' taste, preferences, their options, their experience overall has been a shift. It has changed quite a lot. The way we seek information, the way we give information, and the shift in this consumer behavior is something that is going to be, I think, is going to last for a while because pandemic is not over as yet. We still have COVID with us. Though we don't have restrictions and we don't have the malls shut, but there is a different way we've been operating post-pandemic. And today's session is going to be mainly to get perspective and insights on this more than anything else. So I'm going to start my first one because I think that's a most important one, I believe. Pandemic actually accelerated a lot with the social media growth. Suddenly we saw a lot of influencers. Suddenly we moving towards social media and digital heavily. If this is what has been, what is individuals' experience or their own insights on this? I'll begin with Saraswati for that matter.
Sure, Prasad. See, Prasad, what I feel is basically that whether it is influencers or whether it is social media marketing, it had already taken its step, of like at least 2 or 3 years before the pandemic. Pandemic only escalated the process and it became a leveraging point. Otherwise, most of this was already in process. Influencer marketing was there. Social media had already, yes, Facebook, whether it is Twitter, all these handles were already working for the marketing for brands or for malls for that matter. So I think it is just the fact that the pandemic took them to their peak.
Yeah.
And you finally saw influencers coming into the picture. You saw things like AR, you saw things like VR into the picture. And WhatsApp marketing became really predominant during the pandemic time. And I think even post-pandemic, it has a lot of influence. Same goes for AI. You have a lot of AI working in malls now. You have a lot of AI in brands. So I think maybe, yes, you're right in this, that the pandemic actually took it to its current levels. So it has become a leveraging point for everybody, including the brand. See, pre-pandemic, I think the customer hoped that you would know something about him. Post-pandemic, he demands that you know things about him. Whatever his wants are, whatever his needs are, whatever his expectations are. So considering this, it has taken everything to a very different level altogether.
Sure, thanks. Nandini, over to you.
Sure. So, like Saraswati said, of course, this was existing even earlier. In the earlier days, of course, as you know, brands would have their typical brand ambassadors, and you know how customers follow that one image when it comes to marketing, and that's how most companies end up selling. But what we saw really post-pandemic, or rather even during the phase where the market was evolving, was the smaller brand ambassadors emerging. Right. And so these were icons in their own industries, whether it was mom bloggers or whether it was women bloggers or chef bloggers, food bloggers. There's so many different categories, and they have their own fan following. So we definitely saw a shift of the emergence of this new segment or social media, which emerged with the new retail. And as we're still progressing and learning retail, it continues. We continue to learn new things. Interestingly, I was also reading that videos, or let's say mediums like TikTok, have been a very strong medium for a lot of international brands. Of course, it's banned in India, but these are some tools that brands or people end up using to promote the centers. So we saw a similar change from a traditional marketing, where we're sort of giving, let's say, offline ads, print ads. It shifted from the social media interaction, increasing your followership, engagement, not just with them, but also with, let's say, the people who visit the center. So one could really make them also brand ambassadors, and people tend to follow each other. So yes, it's an ever learning and changing pattern. And now, of course, with when we are planning our marketing budgets, we have to allocate budgets accordingly. So it's no more a traditional sort of a marketing plan, but now the budgets are all allocated, as per digital, offline, and centers may have a different pattern. So I feel like some centers attract more digital, some centers attract more print, more blogger interactions. It depends on the scale of the center that we're looking at.
That's a very interesting point, actually. Sure, Nandini. Over to you, Rima. I'll keep Rahul at the last.
Okay, I just have a very little point to add to what Saraswati has spelled it out right now. Sure. What extra that the customers are looking forward to from the brand is an element of compassion and empathy. This is what I personally felt, and the social behavior, the social justice and discrimination is very, very, very critically looked at by the people now. They want these things to be very clearly spelled out in words. They want the brands to understand their, responsibility. They added up this factor to the brands that behave properly, behave with a certain kind of thing, show that you have a contribution to the society to make, not just you're making money. You're doing beyond what you're making money. You have some contribution towards the society. That's what is something which I wanted to add to it. The rest of it, I think, has been already spelled out.
So, Rima, you've given a very, very amazing perspective. In fact, the identity has never been more important for a brand or for a mall than ever before, right? Yes. For us, positioning and identity was purely just appeal to the primary catchment, appeal to the families, or appeal to the Gen Zs or the millennials. But today, it's not just to do with the primary catchment or the it is more to do with what you stand for, Rima. And that's something that you've interestingly brought it up. It's a very good perspective, Rima. Thank you for this. Over to you, Rahul.
Yeah. So, Prasad, social media is the key, is the way to go now, because it's have more of our audience is there only. Be it is 10-year-old child or a 60-year-old citizen. They all are there. And thanks to pandemic, they all are there with the quantum. And they are spending most of the time. So in case you want to communicate our product, our offerings, our initiatives, our marketing activities, our product, it's a very good method, good platform to be there. Also, way back a decade back, we used to plan our print ad, and we used to plan only one look and feel creative, one communication line, which will be freeze almost a week back, and then we can release. And there is no look back; we can't change it. Here, social media gave us a room to play. We have a series of communication with a different look and feel. The communication remains same. And also, in case the communication is very quirky in nature, what happened? It become viral. So we have numerous series of WhatsApp groups, to the Facebook, to the Instagram, and top of it, everyone who is actually looking to buy or indulge in some offering services or a review of a restaurant. I'll give you a classical example. Way back 3 weeks, 4 weeks back, I wanted to go for a restaurant. I was debating with my wife whether to go X or Y location. my 12-year-old daughter said, "Wait, Papa, that review of that restaurant is not good." I was amazed because way back we used to refrain, giving phones to our kids. Now we are compelled. They are talking to their teacher on the WhatsApp groups. So that's why when we use the social media to our interest, it is very quirky in nature, very quick in nature, and in case things are good in taste, it becomes viral. Whether it is bad, good, ugly, in our interest, without our interest, without our knowingly, unknowingly, it goes viral. So
Right.
That's why the quantum of the spend, quantum of time consumed, our efforts actually goes very high to social media as opposed to print media. I personally stopped print media to the major extent from last almost 8-9 months.
Amazing. Very quickly, Rahul, thanks for this. I just want the audience to basically understand the trends and the perspective, which is the reason a lot of these questions would revolve and closely rub against each other. The next one that I have is the customers are increasingly engaging in online experiences, right? The retail business is opting for digital solutions. We spoke about WhatsApp. We spoke about online and offline integration as well. What do you think, for all the panelists, what do you think is the next big thing in experiential marketing? Is it going to be VR? Is it going to be AI? Or is it going to be omni-channel? And I'll let Rahul take this again because he was the last on the question. So Rahul, please.
So it will be a combination of all three: omni-channel versus AI versus AR, and versus the classic example of Lenskart. How smartly they introduced their offline to online channel by the 3D tryout mechanism. Now, recently, one brand by the name of Navyasa, in case you have heard it,
Yeah.
When they have introduced their 3D view AI model, where you can actually see how the particular sari look like good on you, and thanks to good for the all men's who don't have to give a rating to the wives and the friends how it look like looking on you. So they can easily see how it look like. And they can actually see 4 to 5 and 10 to 20 sarees in a short span of time, and then they can decide which is looking good on them. So I'm very sure by the time next 1 year, 2 years, 1 month, 2 months, it will go gradually increase on a month-to-month basis, and most of the brand will go into this space, and they'll give more experience to the customer. This will help us to decide faster, take less time. And then, of course, by this, sale will get increased.
Sure, Rahul. Over to you, Reema.
Yeah, I have a different experience altogether. As a person from the builder community, I want my brick and mortar to survive. So I personally feel the concept of buy online and pick up from the store is the best option which exists, and it does a lot of good things. It does a lot of good things. Yeah, I'm not against buying online, but I'm of the view, experience the buying online process or booking it from the online and go and pick it up from the particular store. You're entering my store, first factor. You get an opportunity to look at multiple other things if you have the time. There is a possibility, especially if is a typical shopper would just flip through other items also, might go in and buy. There is a possibility of doing that. Second factor, there are a lot of ease added to it apart from the online part of it. When you are buying online, you have to wait for the delivery to pump into your house, God knows how many days or whatever. Here you're going and picking it up right away. You get the product right then and there. First factor. Second factor, you are 100% sure that the product is safe. It's not broken, it is not damaged or anything of that nature. And third thing, if you don't like it, flip it right there. Leave it. Exchange it or whatever. These ease can happen only in case you have this concept of ordering online and picking it up from the thing. I am not against the curb policy of curbside pickup or same day delivery concepts and buying from online and such factors which is existing in the market in today's line. But I'm a person who as I said wants to help my own community. the builder communities, and I definitely want my customer to enter into my shop and not just buy whatever he bought it from online and probably just flip through the other product which is kept there. That way I'm able to increase the sale there, plus the online is any which ways there.
No, Rima, perfect. I think, and there has been a balance, and something that I have experienced very closely. Pre-pandemic, WhatsApp shopping, we thought, I don't know how long this entire journey and its lifetime value will be. But Rima, actually speaking, even after the malls are up and running and they're doing better than the pre-pandemic or before that, I see the medium has not died. I see a lot of brands still continuing doing the WhatsApp shopping. And as you very correctly said, these customers do come back to the store, they try their sizes out and then they check out and then they move on. But at least they've narrowed down to what they want to be doing or buying, or and that medium still continues to be.
The fact is they are able to earn on the time. They can save on the time factor.
Yes.
I'm getting into a Starbucks for that instance. If I'm on my way, order my coffee, go pick it up and move. You don't have to stand in that queue. That helps. Those factors help. So that way I'm talking about.
No, you're absolutely right. This contactless delivery thing that we thought during pandemic, because obviously you don't want to touch anything, today has become a very easy and convenient way for customers to move around on their whole journey, right?
Perfect.
You can walk into a center, do the scan, order the food, do your shopping, pick up the food and move later. It saves a lot of time. It just become more convenient than before.
Especially because I am promoting, I am taking care of metro malls. That is convenience related properties.
Right.
So what happens is I come across such clients a lot. You have clients who book up a food or a product, whatever they wish to have. They come into the shop just to pick up the product and move off. I know that they have ordered these products when they were in the process of traveling in the metro. So it becomes very convenient and better. I don't have crowd there, but I have the convenience of the client coming over. My in-shop sale also increases by that. And online any which ways is there. So that is a very convenient way of promoting anything of that nature, any product or service for that nature.
True that, Prima, true that. Over to you, Nandini. Do you have a different perspective? Please.
So I feel that, of course, all three mediums definitely have to go hand in hand. While, of course, AI is important to give the whole experiential sort of selling. You want to see how it looks on you and the product image. And globally, if you see, today e-commerce and offline retail are coexisting. India is still very small in e-commerce, and I feel they will exist parallelly. But what are retail centers really? Retail centers are family entertainment centers and engagement centers, right? So you do want to come there. You want the touch and feel. You want to see the product, and you want to do the other activities.
Yeah.
So people come for a whole lot of services and not just one thing shopping. Of course, e-commerce definitely provides that convenience of selecting your product, like Rima mentioned, and then you pick up or you order. So the convenience factor is there. But eventually, India is a very touch and feel sort of an economy. People definitely want to see the product that they're buying. And that's why we see a lot of D2C brands or online, like you, to the example of Lenskart opening stores all over. Of course, India, and I recently saw their stores in Singapore and some other countries they've set up. So, so it's important to have the mediums, both the channels.
I point to add, Nandini here.
Yes.
I think going to mall is a ritual. It's like a favorite pastime of all Indians.
Yes.
Unfortunately for the Indian, unfortunately for us being a mall developer, we don't have anything to apart from going to the mall on weekends. The majority of people feel very refreshed when they visit the mall. Unlikely in a very developed countries like these Western country, you have a lot of parks, community center where they can do spend their entire day. Here,
Absolutely.
The malls are pioneer to giving a day well spent. You can go there on weekend after you lazy morning time, and you go to the malls and have a gala time. Your family is satisfied, your kids are satisfied.
Rahul, it basically happens because we don't have the climatic condition which permits our people to roam around in the parks.
So that's what I told you.
Extremely hot and humid. So
that's
mall is the alternate.
Unfortunately for India, unfortunately for mall developers.
But you're right, there aren't too many options also today when you were looking at, you had What are the weekend
in case any mall is able to give a experience of a day well spent, like in a very holistic way, everything is there. We intend to attract more customer, more sales, more revenue to us.
For sure, Rahul. Saraswati, your perspective is missing.
Prasad, I also believe in the same thing basically. See, shopping is a therapy. Going out with the family, like earlier what used to happen is that people used to maybe, just go for a fine dining experience, or they would perhaps go to a movie together. Now malls, or for that matter, any brick and mortar stores, they offer you the experience, the 360-degree experience that you need. So family time has now become more of like, going down to a mall or maybe going down to a shopping center, wherein the entire family can do whatever they want and spend some quality time together. And for like most of the people, as Rima rightly said, the feel of the garment, the feel of the place, all those things matter. Yes, online shopping and online experiences have actually made life very easy for everybody. So in fact, in the middle of the meeting also, you might be ordering something. You have that convenience for people who are working from home. But see, with this trend of people working from home, the entire day they are at home. So you find a lot of people now, if you're sitting on Netflix currently, most of the time you'll feel most of the content has been seen. There is no newness. So you would definitely like to go down, have that popcorn, go down for a movie experience, maybe go down to the mall. So I feel, those 2 years of being closeted at home has actually taught people the value of going and moving out of the house and going together as a family. So in totality, brick and mortar stores are what is going to be the future. Yes, with it's going to be an omni-channel approach. There is no doubt on that. But people are going to come back. And I was just going through an article. This was about a store in New Zealand. It was about a hyper in New Zealand, which had something called a smart cart. So what people were doing were, they were shopping and they were putting everything into the smart cart. And by the time they went to the billing counter, everything was actually billed. All they had to do was just deposit the money. So what I feel is that most of the stores are going to become more tech savvy, more savvy towards the customer's needs, and they're going to save on that time. And then you also see there is this moment also. Earlier, it was all brands offline to online. Now you find a lot of these online brands going offline also. So as rightly said, Lenskart is there, Mamaearth is expanding majorly. There's so many brands who are, found only online, and they are there now. Nykaa is there. So I think that these trends are there to stay.
Totally. I just have a little different perspective, and I just add to it because we are in the middle of such an interesting point. I feel more than the omni-channel VR, AI that we've been talking about, one thing that has changed completely for our organization that we've been looking after is we stopped looking at shopping centers completely. I mean, we've thrown that off our book. We've told the team and the marketing and the marketeers and the brand custodians not to think malls as malls anymore, but to make them as a community centers, make them I think Rahul brought the point of the laughter store. There are new formats which are sort of coming and kicking in. There is a small auditorium where theater is happening in the mall. There are book reading sessions happening in the mall. So what is happening is it's just not playing the role of just come and shop and I've got you discounts and I've got you pretty clothes and I've got you the latest collection. The shopping centers are actually donning a new identity that sort of Rima also brought it up. And in true sense, that's sort of getting utilized across all the assets that we are managing. So this was a different, but I surely feel omni-channel will be the reality sooner or later. There is no escape to that. So yeah, I'll move on to my next question. It's more to do with brand building. It's my favorite question actually, which is the reason I've kept this in the panel for the panelists. How do you guys reimagine the brand building in this post-pandemic world? And I really do not mean marketing, but purely just mean the brand building part of it that we used to do before as well. But how do you reimagine it to be now, post-pandemic? And sorry, Saraswati, I'll start with you again now.
You'll have to elaborate a little bit more, Prasad, on the question.
Sure. What I really basically mean is the fact that for us, the brand building earlier, Saraswati and everybody, was simply having a brand campaign, having an emotional connect with the customers, appealing to its primary and secondary catchment area, having a personality of the brand, and doing it across and sort of positioning the center as whatever it is. If it's for the youth, fashion, family, some of them took this whole spot of the neighborhood center, all of it. How has that thing changed? Are we still doing the same brand building exercise that we used to do pre-pandemic, or has it changed post-pandemic? Is what my question is.
Okay. See, I think, yes, there has been a shift, there has been a change. As you earlier, I think somebody in the panel had mentioned earlier also, that what used to happen was that the brand building exercise perhaps revolved around a prominent personality, or perhaps, as you said, it revolved around the entire center. But now it has got very, very segmented. Now, what has happened is that a lot of the local players are coming into the picture. You have so many of these, as I think Rima would have rightly said, there are so many influencers walking in. So what has happened is that it has become more practical. It has become a lot more focused on real people, real experiences, real people. So brand building has changed, keeping in view the current times. So you have a lot of these people who are focused on enhancing your brand through smaller mediums rather than these larger mediums, like as you rightly said that earlier, huge ads in the newspapers, maybe something to do with the radio channels. So now you find these very simple housewives or very student crowds walking in, perhaps a small kid who has a feedback. So brand building exercise has become more segmented, more localized, and more to do with social media.
Saraswati, amazing. Actually brought this whole point up, which is the P2P. We've been doing a lot of B2B before the mall starts and operates, because obviously we want the industry to sort of acknowledge and know that so-and-so development and asset is coming in. Then is the phase where the B2C sort of kicks in. But I think you touched upon a very good point, Saraswati. What we have moved away from and sort of doing is now P2P. It's more people-to-people campaign that we are talking to. It's more one-on-one than sort of really talking to the large mass. And as you very correctly said, it's more segmented as an audience. That's a great perspective. Thanks, Saraswati. Over to you, Nandini.
I agree.
I'm just following the same sequence. Sorry. All right, please, Nandini, please.
Sure. So I agree. Of course, it has definitely become more segmented, and but I think what is also important to understand is that the brand building also has to do with the experience that the brand is offering today. So while a brand may carry a certain image of a value brand or a premium brand or a luxury brand, I think the experience enhancement is something which is really going on from value to mass to luxury, right? That's one thing that I've realized that every brand today is focusing on. The more you engage and you give that experience to the customer, the more brand value sort of the brand carries. So that's right. One thing that I've noticed, and not just with the national players, but even with some of the regional or other homegrown local brands, right? It's amazing to see like we've got one of our centers is a neighborhood complex, and we've seen some of the smaller brands really enhancing the whole experience. Of course, we work along in giving what the customer demands, and and to give a reason for the customer to keep coming back to the store. So yeah, I would say experience is also something that goes along with the entire brand image.
Great, Nandini. Rima, over to you, boss.
Yeah, I personally think innovation is what is being taken care of here. Innovation has to be taken into consideration. You can't be a copycat. You got to have totally different outlook. Identify your audience, first of all. Identify who exactly you are trying to, cater to, and do the brand building accordingly. And whenever you do it, make it a point, because it's become very clear nowadays that people are looking forward to a certain amount of empathy from you when you're trying to present something in front of you. They're not interested in any brand who is not interested in you. They are not interested. They are very, very keen about those brands who are showing some kind of an empathy or concern about the society. People are interested for those brands. People seem to give some kind of an importance to those brands. So your brand building has to be taken into consideration. You got to have that kind of an innovation in your brand which you come up with, the brand building when you come out with. There has to be a consistency when you do it. The empowerment should be there, and of course the agility part of it. The entire thing has to work out in such a fashion that the entire content of this ad, the brand building should have some relevance. Without these relevance, things are not going to work. So this is what I feel about it.
No, it's a great point again. I think earlier the brands used to be, a lot of the brands and the mall as well, I would really consider the malls as brands over here. They had a lot of monologue happening, right? I mean, you come here, do this, you get this, you get this, you get this. Right now, they're moving away from that and getting into a dialogue. It is more to do with...
It's become customer-centric. It's become customer-centric now. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
Awesome. Very nice. Thanks for that. Rahul, over to you. You've been managing different geographies in your career. I think you would be a good example and a good serving reference point for us.
I have totally different viewpoint. The fundamental of strategy, brand building exercise remains same before pandemic, after pandemic, pre-pandemic. What is changed is the how we'll do it. Whether it is innovation, whether it is a different segment, the answer is how proactive we are. So during pandemic, we have learned the hard way to be very proactive in nature. Like I quote few examples, like Paytm. When 2016 demonetization happened, within same day, within next day they have an ad. In pandemic time, whatever changes will keep happening, we have changed our gear immediately. Like sometimes mall is open on weekday, sometimes weekend, early closing, night curfew, the shut, open, again shut, again open. The more proactive nature we had that point of time, the more we reap the fruit at that point of time with being more proactive in nature. Like we learned how to make it more agile in nature. Like just do it, man. That point of time, I still recall a very fresh memory. But what to do with marketing? We didn't have any clue what to do, how to do, when to do, because we have not seen the pandemic in our life. So we sat together with our entire team of operations, marketing, finance, you name it. And we had different thought viewpoint. We thought and we nailed it, saying, don't do anything. Let's keep it very clear and just pass the message, positive message that, hey, come to the mall. You are entering into a safe shopping experience environment. And that, trust me on this, I'm very proud to say, within 3 months, 2 months time, we got the very healthy recovery percentage growth in terms of footfall and sales in our online malls. Same goes for right now also. We have to be very proactive in nature. The people are listening on our social media, our website, our social media, Instagram. We keep changing our gear every time. We are very, very cautious on what is being written on our Google review pages, how we are reacting before it becomes the chain trail. All we should do it very actively, very proactively. Whether it is a marketing campaign execution, the experience at the mall, the safety, security, housekeeping, you name it. We have to ensure we are quick in nature, and we are giving back to the customer what they want immediately.
Amazing. I think everybody brought a different perspective and insight over here. So thanks to everybody for this. The next one is seamlessly integrating to the core question that we have. Is this post-pandemic period with the shift in the consumer behavior, with the shift in the way we're consuming media, with the way we are shifting to the strategy that we spoke about, how has the customer and the brand loyalty changed? How do we need to recalibrate it? Is it challenging? How different it is? Again, I'll start from you, Rahul, because you were the last to. So yeah, please.
In my view, in this current era, there is no loyalty.
You mean there's no loyalty at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
You ask yourself how particular you are for a particular mall, particular product, particular size, dimension.
I'm extremely loyal, Rahul.
You are one of the exceptions in my life. But trust me on this, there is no loyalty overall to anyone. We are keep changing our product lifestyle every day, every week. There was time we stick to one particular brand for ages, whether it is a particular service, salon, the particular product like Colgate, you name the product. We are very particular about the product. Now, in case you are getting the same taste, same cost, same experience, same service to a different brand, we don't mind shifting it. I had. This is one of my favorite topics. We have debated it a number of times with many forums, many people. The answer is very clear. You need to be very, very, very innovative, relevant to the time, to give happiness to the customer, experience the customer. Till such time you're able to achieve that, the customer is yours, you own the customers, and it's very difficult to retain the customer for a longer term.
Sure. Rahul, before I move over to Rima, there's one little perspective which I would like to add to this one. I strongly believe in loyalty. I think without the affinity and loyalty, I don't think we as a marketer would really withstand the troubling. And what I really mean is the fact that we always thought of making the neighborhood centers as a third place, right? Beyond work, office, and we still continue doing that. For us, I mean, at least for our organization, post-pandemic, we've taken CRM to a next level. We've integrated that across the POS, and it's just sheer. It's not just sheer earn, reward, all of that. It's more of experiences and privileges. What we've understood, and this is to all the panelists, what we've understood is the fact that the 20% of the customers are giving us 80% of the business. I mean, keeping in mind the Pareto principle. What we are doing is we're extending our arms, legs, everything that we can for those 20% of the customers. We're giving them the services that you could possibly think of at the airport, which is the meet and greet, right? You feel amazing and you feel great when you have somebody who's really receiving you and taking care of you, right? From the time you're entering the terminal till the time you're actually boarding the flight. Some of the practices and experiences we've learned from various other industries, whether that's hotel, whether that's airlines, we are slowly merging and adopting them to our centers as well. In Vegas, Delhi, we got a full-fledged program with more than 1 lakh customers, and we exactly know who are my top 20 customers, whom I really need to focus on, whom I need to show the movie premieres, whom I need to bring in for the comedy club, and all the efforts that we're taking towards that has so far paid off big time. That was my perspective. Rima, I'll let you talk.
See, I would want to divide the loyalty into two.
Wow,
First is the customer loyalty. Loyalty. Second is the brand loyalty.
Right.
If you're brand loyal, there is a possibility of your retaining that for a longer time. Whether the cost rises, nothing matters. You know.
Right.
It matters only till the behavior changes, till the quality changes. You will still remain up till then you remain loyal to that particular brand. As far as customer loyalty is concerned, that is totally on value for money. That will be totally on value for money. It can change. You know, today you are selling something for a certain amount of rupee, and an adjoining shopkeeper is selling that with a plus something else. The loyalty immediately changes of the customer to that side. You know, he'll start going to that particular shop and wanting to buy. Whether today I'm buying something, for example, if I'm trying to buy something from a spa, you know, I see that more is providing something better. You know, I would immediately I'll shift to more. That will happen. So that is customer loyalty. The customer loyalty is not something that sticks on for a very long time till you are able to retain it as very competitive person, a very competitive marketer. You know, reading the entire market and seeing that you are providing some kind of a points. Like I'll give you an example of my particular mall. We have lots working in one of our properties, you know. So what do they do is when Metro Cash and Carry pumped in closer to their area, they started giving the loyalty points, some kind of a coupons, you know. So if you shop for a certain amount of money, they'll give you a coupon for next month's shopping if you cross pass a certain amount of money. That means they are assuring that you will at least shop for this much money. If you do that, you will get that kind of a rebate in your bill. You know, so that way they are able to retain that client from going from their shop to Metro Cash and Carry. That's how they are doing it. So you have such schemes pumping in from, you know, that's, as I said, it's an innovative idea. Post-pandemic, everything is innovative. You know, you have to have everything innovative. Whatever has happened 5 years back, you cannot repeat it today. You know, 2 months back, you got to change it. If you want to be there in the race, change it. Come out with something new. Bring out something
Right.
new. So I feel loyalty is there to stay, provided you're able to understand your client and provide them what they want. That's all it is all about.
Absolutely, Rima. And good that you spoke about the brand loyalty and you bifurcated both these customer and brand loyalty. Though the customers are more value driven,
Yes.
for the sheer fact because they have value. So what I really meant by saying the Pareto principle, Rima and everybody else, is the fact that these 20% customers are totally agnostic to anything that happens around, right? Because they don't care. For them, these are my really heavy spenders. We would call them the weakest black privy customers, because the reason they're black, because that's something that they earned in the tiers that we have built. Also, what we've done, Rima, the below tiers, the mass, the remaining 80%, how are we engaging with them, keeping them relevant and meaningful? If you shop, you bring the points. There is something that you can pick up from the mall itself. So I'm trying to add more
Cross
value to your
promotions you
shop.
can do.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do cross promotions. You can
Rima.
come out with some kind of a discounts, you know, or you,
Right.
as I very clearly said, on a billing, a certain amount of discount. On introducing new clients, you can give them discount. So these are all innovative new ideas that you can come out with. There is nothing, there's
Right,
no
Rima.
standard rule and regulation that you have to follow these norms. There are no fixed norms. You got to create those norms if you want to be there in the race, if you want to be there in the market, if you want to be in a win-win situation.
But you believe in loyalty, unlike Rahul.
I believe in loyalty. I
All
believe
right.
in loyalty.
Nandini, over to you.
So, I'd like to also divide this into two parts. Of course, brands or centers definitely have a set of loyal customers who would keep coming. Maybe it's like your 20% of customers which keep coming. But I think every brand today also has a bit of your aspiration and additional customers that are coming in. And today, with the data that the brands are collecting, they're really looking at it on a daily basis. Okay, what is my additional customer base jump? And since I also work on the leasing side, and when we get into the kind of sales that brands are generating, and they even go down to the extent of, okay, this is the sales from your additional customers, and this is the sale from your loyal customers, right? So as the scale improves, there is that aspirational customer which will keep adding up. Having said that, of course, loyalty is also linked to the experience again, and you have to give them a reason to keep coming back. You have
retaining.
To keep.
That's exactly what I said. Retaining the client.
Retaining
them by doing
the
something.
engagement. Yeah.
Engagement. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's
Yes,
not just
Rima.
true for brands, but that's also true for complete retail centers, right? A center becomes old and it's like 7-8 years old, and a new center opens up in the same vicinity. The customer shifts
Right.
because there's a newness, there's a freshness. And so as developers, we have to emphasize on the fact that you're constantly upgrading the center, the experiences. The product range should not be different from one center to another, because end of the day, of course, eventually the sales talk numbers, right? The footfall.
That's why we do the churning. Yeah, we do a lot of churning.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we do a lot of churning, and there are innovations which happens too in many builders' case. We do it.
Yeah. Another important thing I've noticed is, I think this also varies from region to region. I've seen certain regions, the loyalty factor is much higher than certain regions. I don't want to get into which one is what, but I have seen that pattern.
Sure, Nandini, sure.
Right.
Perfect. Saraswati, do you believe in loyalty or no? I mean,
yes, I do. But see, there are two aspects to it. The current, as Rahul rightly said, the current customer loyalty is a bit divided. It's a bit whimsical. We don't deny that. But then I agree with Rima and Nandini's view also that you need to retain it. There was a very nice line that I read, which basically said this, that you are not competing with your competitor. You are competing with yourself. You have to compete with the best possible experience that you've given to your customer. So I think it's an ongoing process, and most of the developers, most of the brands have understood this, and they have tried in their own manner to retain the customer loyalty. To a large extent, see, it must be a workable solution, because you find all of them coming up with so many innovative ideas, You have so many loyalty programs, so many loyalty, points for people. So I think it's a two-way mechanism. It is, yes, it's not as if a customer will be loyal to you forever, but you have to work on that. And yes, you can have a loyal customer base.
Totally. Perfect. Great. At least that gives me a bit of a firm conviction that the loyalty does work.
I have a point to add.
Please, Rahul. I knew it. Rahul. Please.
So if I sum up, everybody is saying loyalty exists, but
yes.
However, but not be, but be. So,
but Kintu Parantu is always there, na?
Yeah.
So, nutshell, in case you want to have the loyal customer base, the outcome is that you need to have a good product, good service, good experience.
Yes.
No, totally. And more than that, just to add to what Rahul also said.
Let me complete, Prasad.
Sorry, Rahul, please.
In case you're able to retain the customer by the happy question, like, the good experience, he will not go anywhere. But that's not loyalty come across. That is the relationship, emotional connect between the brand and the customer. See, there was a time when you have to give a points and retain points, give points, burn, earn. It actually is not so great, compelling for the customer to retain with the brand. Until unless you have very, very, very good loyalty program. Sorry to say, I have gone through with many loyalty program of a banks, of a malls, of a brand. They don't give a good value for a time the customer is spending on the earning and burning points. So where the loyalty comes, the loyalty should come from the brand side also to give to the customer, to retain him.
Yes, very much, Rahul, very much. And I think brands.
Because you can't give that parameter to the customer will go fly. Here, you are not giving good experience, good offering, good cost, economical cost, a good treatment when it comes to the mall. But you are saying, hey, I'll give you the premier tickets, I'll give you red carpet welcome. It's not working. The customer is very clear.
Rahul, we are mixing up with two things. We are mixing up with the experience of a particular property and an experience with a brand. They are two different things altogether. Your experience with a particular property or a center would be very bad, but your experience with a particular brand could be very beautiful. So as far as the brand is concerned, the brand will have to come out with a loyalty program simultaneously with all centers. It cannot say that if you buy a particular product from this particular center, you will get this benefit, otherwise you won't get. So that the brand cannot do such a thing. Malls can come out with that kind of a loyalty program, that you are trying to improve your footfall. The brands can't do that. Brands can try to promote their own particular product only. They can provide an experience when somebody enters their particular premises and then give the needful convenience or ease or whatever you can call it. But you can't
I'm referring to the mall loyalty program only.
Perfect.
I'm trying to say the mall, instead of spending energy and efforts in the loyalty program, the mall should focus primarily on the experience, because customer is coming to the mall for experience.
Very right.
Without buy the product, he has enough means and ways online.
Without a doubt.
Perfect.
Without a doubt, Rahul. I mean, you're totally right, Rahul. Like, experience is the essential and the primal fundamental this thing that every center would more or less have in its own ways or the other. But by running the loyalty program that we've been running across all our centers, the fintech companies or the tech companies that they talk about the customer lifetime value and they sort of try and map it against the acquisition cost versus what has been what the customer has been giving that in several years. It works phenomenally when it comes to the malls, and I genuinely and strongly believe that it is going to evolve. It is not just the shop redeem. Today, some of the privileges we're offering in Vegas Black extend to the airport lounge services, right? So it's beyond the ecosystem of just the malls. I mean, if I need to appeal to Rahul or Rima or Nandini, I just cannot have them feel comfortable and good only when they come to my mall, but look beyond what I could possibly offer. Which is the reason I stated somewhere in the beginning where we've removed the shopping center, shopping as a hat completely, because that was a hat that we donned the most. And that is something that we've given away. And we're seeing the benefits coming in from various ways in terms of consumption, XYZ, all of it. My next question is a pretty simple one. I think those who are working on the annual marketing plan and the calendar, Nandini spoke about the budgets in the course of the conversation. How does the AMP, what I mean is the annual marketing plan and the strategy, does it look any different from the pre-pandemic? The way we approach events, the way we approach promotions, the way we approach everything. Saraswati, over to you, please.
Okay. See, Prasad, what I basically feel is that before the pandemic, most of the malls, shopping centers, even for that matter, large community centers, whatever, however you name them, they were very focused on giving a experience which would be maybe, more festivity oriented. And basically, you would find maybe, Diwali decor would be different, the Shera decor would be different, there would be events lined up. But the pandemic saw a slight crunch in everybody's budget. So what has happened is that the marketing plan over the post-pandemic era has changed. In the sense that now it's all about maybe having a thematic event, which could perhaps outlive that festival phase. So I think in that manner, everybody's average marketing plans have changed. We are no longer trying to spend too much. We are trying to spend enough to give value. So yes, the spends are there. The spends are, we are not, it's not as if we are cutting down on expense or something, but we try to extend the life of our events and we try to extend the life of our decors. So perhaps rather than doing a Diwali decor, perhaps I would rather prefer doing a different theme-based decor, which would actually appeal to maybe the kids and which could appeal to the younger crowd for a longer period of time. So in this manner, the marketing budgets are changing. Plus, you found that a lot of ATLs happening before. A lot of them have been cut out. So you'd rather prefer spending on social media, you'd rather prefer spending on, on experiences, rather than putting your budgets into ATLs, do more BTL activations. So in this manner, pandemic has affected everybody's marketing budgets.
Sure, that's Nandini, over to you. How has your AMP looking different? Any strategy has changed? Please.
Sure. So of course, marketing, one part of it is, how we sort of do the entire marketing when it comes to ATL, BTL, or even the smaller channels like MyGate app or, Lyft Media. There's so many mediums that one could look at, right? But on the other hand, what is also changed is our, festivals and celebrations, right? In the earlier time, we would stick to the larger festivals being celebrated, the decor being celebrated. Yeah. But I think now, because the way people have stepped out or come out after COVID, every weekend is a celebration. And I think our events budget definitely has, been increased because we want to do something every weekend. People wait to see what's happening this weekend at the center. And so that is definitely increased, the engagement through these events and the on-site promotions. Of course, there's engagement through, let's say, bloggers or, activations keep happening through all the channels. So it's pretty much around the year, smaller festivals being celebrated. It's not just having a spend towards a Diwali or a New Year, Christmas. I think it's pretty much Women's Day was celebrated, in a very large way. What do I say? Even, Children's Day. Summer vacation this time, right? So,
sure.
So we had to actually run some programs and events to attract crowd who did not travel. And I think one of our malls really saw great sales in the month of June, which is otherwise a very, very lean month. Right?
Wow. All right. Yeah.
So, exactly. So I think, yes, it's changing, and that part has gone up. While of course we are mindful and we watch the ROI, and sort of see which medium is giving us what kind of return. And like I said, a print may not give us so much. Social media definitely gives us a higher yield. Blogger interaction maybe gives us, and smaller platforms like WhatsApp Live and So Delhi and smaller platforms as well.
Right.
So we divide it accordingly. The mediums have definitely increased, and the engagement on center have proportionately increased as well.
Great. That's a great perspective in seeing the fact that there has been a change in the AMP strategy. Rahul, we used to work together. We used to do Lucky Ali events. We used to do Venga Boys. We used to do international gigs. We used to do a lot of mass, popular ticketed events. And that used to be formally a major part of our calendar, Rahul, right? When we were at Phoenix and other centers. How is the AMP looking different now, Rahul, from your perspective?
Each center to center depend, and each company to company differ also. Here in Van Mall, we ensure we not only focus on one particular genre, say music or a concert sort of. We try to give every touch upon every segment, whether it is the women, men, mass, class, concept, experience, everything. So our calendar is always a very robust. Having said that, if we question was how we changed from pre-pandemic to now, nothing is majorly changed. The reason being, because during the pandemic phase, actually rightly said by Nandini, people are waiting for a nostalgic moment, what they used to do earlier. So classical example, we had a property called Orion Fun League, which happened in summer, and we are not done for 2 years. One random call came to our office saying, this time it's happening or no, because my kids always enjoy that. So it's a very, very emotional connect to us. Yes, we said, yes, we are doing it on a big, larger scale. And it was a talk of the town. People enjoyed at the core. Now, having said that, what is changed in the marketing plan which is changed is the how we communicate. Like rather spending entire money on one particular medium, which outdoor hoarding or a print ad, which take away a lot of proportion costing to us. We rather spending more money on radio, which is the mass, and a social media, which we can customize on a very on a click. So instead of focusing on one particular communication line, we can have a different communication line under the one particular campaign. So we have changed to the extent of print media, moved to the radio and social media, and overall our marketing plan remain intact, same, and we are getting the result out of this. In fact, we are at the more than 15 to 20% year-on-year jump pre-pandemic to now, and we are look forward to a festive period to have a much higher growth, because this festive will be with the clear-cut endemic period. And let's see.
That's a good one, Rahul.
Only looking forward to this festive period, and hope so. We all reap the result.
Commendable and a great one, Rahul. Rima, your perspective on this.
Unlike my colleague panelist, I'm not going to talk about the center promotions. Sure. I would want to spell it out, the budget limitations of the brands or any services for that instance. So the change that I see from a television advertisement and the print media, now the system has changed to the mass media. You come out advertisements in WhatsApp messages, you have emailers coming up, you have pop-in ads coming up in multiple other electronic medias. That's what has taken up the space than the newspaper advertisements or the television ad. The television ad has reduced, stopped, or whatever you can call it. This has taken up, So this I personally feel is the costing has come down, and the medium has gone high. The amount of people who are going to see the ad is going to be more. You have to see it, you have to read it, especially when you email a person, personalized emails that you send to a person. It becomes more, something that is sent to me. I would want to
it's more personalized,
read it.
more customized.
It's more personalized.
Yes.
So that's better.
Yes.
So that's something which is pumped in, which is cost effective and very otherwise very effective also. So this is the change which I feel which has pumped in as far as advertisement agencies and advertisements of the brands which has pumped in post-pandemic period. Of course, the malls will have to continue with all those pump and show. We have no other options. That is the best way to attract. people, so we continue with that. So, but the changes that we see in the medium of advertisement is with the brands which exist here. That is from the print media to the electronic media.
Sure. Nima, just to add to the last one, I think I've got everybody's perspective, and everybody from Nandini to Rahul, everybody has covered. Saraswati's covered it. The only certain change that I've seen in the AMP calendar that across all our centers is it's more to do with guest listed events now. It's more, for example, a customer who's shopping very regularly at Tommy. We know that the same customer through the guest listed event could buy at Calvin Klein. So a lot of these wine and cheese and guest listed events are happening big time in most of our centers. That's a big little change that I see in the calendar. Earlier, I used to see a whole media plan calendar, which used to be print, radio, outdoor, XYZ. Today, I see a whole calendar which is built only for influencers and the aggregators. The MyGate community that Nandini sort of touched upon, Rahul touched upon a few more things. So yes, the shift for us has been quite huge, because we now reduce doing the mass scale events. We don't do the Lucky Ali's and the Wenger Boys of the world anymore, but sort of stick down to the segmented audience for consuming within the center. That's perhaps the only change in our AMP. Having said this, I think we are out of time as well. Do we have any questions? I think we do. Sanjeev, do we have any questions?
No, we don't have any question today. None of our viewers have posted any question.
There is one question that has come by a gentleman called Amjad Khan. The question is, what's your view on calendar of events post-pandemic? I think we just answered that. I think all of us the last question was that the calendar of events has changed a bit, and how it has changed, every panelist has given us a perspective. Sanjeev, over to you, please.
So thanks. So we had a very interesting, session, and I hope all my viewers must have enjoyed this session. And I thank you all for sharing your, experiences and also sparing your precious time for SCAI. So I thank you all. And with this, we conclude our today's session. Okay. So thank you once again.